Hey y'all, welcome back to NotSoBiggMatt. I'm Matt and welcome to my channel. Today I'm at my parents' house and I'm going to throw together a hamburger steak hash brown casserole. That's kind of what I'm calling it, but I'm going to do, I've kind of taken inspiration from everybody doing the Tater Tot Casseroles, and I'm going to sub out the hash browns for a lower point alternative. I'm going to get a lot more potatoes than you would if you use the tater tots. So stick with me and I'll show you how I do it and give you some tips and tricks along the way. Alright, so I'm gonna start off by, I've got my oven preheated at 375, so I'm gonna try to get that going. I'm gonna go ahead and spray the pan, and I already have weighed out things because I was coming down here, so I did my prep work at the house, and now that we're here, I'm gonna use I've got 687 grams of Great Value brand shredded hash browns, and I just put them in a container to transport them. They're still frozen. I'm going to spray my pan. I'm using some butter flavored spray, but I'm going to spray it pretty liberally. I don't want anything to stick. So I'm going to hit that, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the hash browns into the dish. And this is a 9x13 baking dish. Give it a little push down just to make sure that it's all at the bottom. This is a little bit more than I used the last time I made this. I did a Mexican style the other day, hash brown casserole, and I didn't use quite as many potatoes, but I thought that I liked the way that it would be if it had some more meat to it, some more potato meat. That sounds weird, doesn't it? Anyway, I'm going to spray the top again with some spray. I'll hit it with a little bit of salt and pepper, and I'm going to hold off and throw this in once I get the oven preheated. And I will do my initial bake on these probably about 30 minutes, give or take. I am gonna bake everything, or bake it uncovered. So let me get this edge here that I didn't get very well. Alright. So that's it. I'm going to wait for the oven to preheat, and then I'm going to go ahead and pop this in and get it started. Like I said, I'm going to probably go about a half an hour, maybe a little bit more. And I'll check back with you in a minute when I start the meat. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and measure out some of this meat. I ended up buying a 2 1/4 pound package of the 96% lean ground beef from Walmart. I don't need that much for this. I think I'm going to just pull out 1 1/4 pounds to cook with this recipe, and I'll use the other pound for something else. So what I've done is I've got my pan on my scale. I'm going to tare it. Alright, zeroed, and I'm going to go ahead and try to get about 1 1/4 pounds of this out and into the pan so I can get it cooking. And I know that be half of it, and then maybe a little bit more. So that's 1 pound and 3.2 ounces. There's almost, that's it, 1 pound 4 ounces. So I'll use this other pound for something else, for a different meal. I'm going to go ahead and throw my ground turkey breast. I've got 1 pound of ground turkey breast that I picked up at Walmart. What brand is that? Butterball. Throw that in, and I'm going to get these started. I've got a medium onion that I'm going to dice and cook with it. I am going to season this, but I'll kick back over here in just a second when I get my seasonings ready, and I will sort of show you what I'm going to do with that. So I'll get you in a second. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and season this. I'm going to go ahead and first start off with a little bit of spray. Again, it's a little bit out of kilter. I usually would spray the bottom of the pan to start with, but that didn't work this time because I had to measure that meat out. And then I'm just going to season it. So I'm going to use a little bit of seasoning salt, or seasoned salt, Lowry's. I don't really measure my spices, I just kind of eyeball it. But I'm going to make this kind of be the flavor of a hamburger steak if I was going to be pattying this out, or pattying out ground beef rather. This is what I would usually put in it. This is a little bit of chili powder. Not a whole lot, just a little bit for some flavor. Hit it with a little bit of garlic powder. These are all the things that I normally would put on burgers if I were doing burgers. A little bit of onion powder. Again, just a little bit. And then I have 1 medium diced onion. I'm going to put that in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this on the eye and get it cooking. I'm just going to cook it down until it's all cooked through. Break the meat up as best as I can as it goes through. And I will check back in when I get the meat finished up. Alright, so I've got the meat is still on the stove browning with the onion, and I'm going to go ahead and throw together a little bit of a sauce that I'm going to mix with the meat once I get it browned up. I think I'll do, and this is going to be kind of a, I'm just going to play with it because I'm not 100% sure where I really want the flavor profile to be. But I'm going to go with ketchup, G. Hughes sugar-free ketchup, and G. Hughes sugar-free steak sauce. And then I'm probably going to add a little bit of water to thin it down. I don't think I'll add any more seasonings to it because I've already got seasoning in the meat itself. But I may decide, after I put it all together and taste it, I may decide to adjust the seasonings in it. Maybe garlic powder, maybe onion powder, I don't know. So I'm just going to start with, like, I think I'm going to go 4 ounces on the steak sauce to start with. And then I may go 4 to 6 ounces on the ketchup. So let's start with 4 ounces. There's an ounce. That's 2. There's 3. It's 3.5. Alright, that's 4.1, but that's close enough to 4. So I'm going to start there on that. And if you haven't tried the G. Hughes brand products, try them out because they're awesome. Their ketchup tastes way better than the Heinz sugar-free ketchup, in my opinion. Their barbecue sauces are amazing and a lifesaver on this thing because you can have a good bit of sauce for 0 points. If you're looking for those low point sauces and stuff to try to jazz up your cooking. Alright, so I'm at 4.1 ounces on the steak sauce. I'm going to write that down so I know. I've got it figured that I could use 6 ounces of each if I need to. I'm going to go 4 ounces on the ketchup also, I think, to start with. Just to see how it tastes. Actually, I may not go 4. I may go 3 to start with. Alright, there's 2.3. Alright, that's 3 ounces of ketchup. So I'm going to give that a little mix. And I'm just going to taste it and see if that's going to be, if it's going to be too sweet or if there's a need for something else in it. Because I'm not really sure. This is the first time messing with this, trying this recipe. So that's actually really good. It's a little bit twangy, but it does have a very good steak sauce flavor. I'm going to add a little bit of water to it. Just a little splash. I'll mix that up to thin it down, and then I will kick back with you here in just a few minutes when I get the meat browned up. Alright, so I've got the meat all browned up, the onions all cooked down, and most all of the liquid is cooked out of the pan. So I'm going to go ahead and you can see there's nearly no liquid left in that. I didn't drain it, I just kept cooking it until it drained, till all the juice kind of evaporated out, cooked out. I'm going to go ahead and add my sauce stuff that I did just a minute ago. Let me get a, oh, no, get this. Try and get all the good out of it. And I didn't end up adding anything else to it. It's just I ended up with 4 ounces of steak sauce and 3 ounces of ketchup and a little bit of water just to kind of thin it down some. And I'm just going to mix that into the meat. I ended up turning I ended up adding about 10 more minutes to the hash browns because it looked like they weren't going to get done enough in that 30-minute time. So I'll be at 42 minutes, I think, is when the timer goes off, in about 3 minutes. So I'm just going to let this cook for a couple of minutes and let the flavors kind of meld together real well. And as soon as the hash browns come out of the oven, I'll add this on top and I'll check back with you. Alright, so I ended up at about 42 or 43 minutes total. The hash browns are done. And I've cooked the meat and got the flavors kind of all melded together really well. I'm just going to go ahead and top the hash browns with the meat mixture. And then I'll spread it out so that it's even across the whole dish. Okay. I did go ahead and taste the meat mixture just to make sure that the flavors were still good after the, it had time to kind of cook together a little bit, and it's really, really good. The flavors are going to work really well together, I think. So I didn't do anything extra to it. I didn't add any additional seasoning or anything to it. Alright, so that's it on that. I'm going to set my pan aside. And, like I said earlier, I already had everything mixed together. I did 28 grams or a quarter cup of the Great Value fat-free mozzarella, 28 grams of the Great Value fat-free cheddar, and then I used 48 grams, which was the highest amount of grams I could have for 4 points, on the Great Value reduced fat finely shredded Fiesta blend cheese. And I've just got it all mixed together. I put it all in one tub so that I can make sure that it uniformly goes across the whole casserole. So I'm just going to take that and give it another mix and try to spread it relatively evenly over the top of the entire dish. And that looks pretty good. I am going to do one more thing because I did use a decent amount of fat-free cheese. The fat-free cheese doesn't melt super great, so I'm going to use a little bit of cooking spray and just lightly shoot across the top to help the fat-free cheeses melt well. Alright, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the oven for another probably 10 to 15 minutes to get everything cooked through. You know, make sure everything's good and hot and melted together, and get the cheese melted and bubbly. And I will pop back on and show you what it looks like when we bring it out. Alright, so I got the hash brown casserole out of the oven. I ended up with about 15 minutes baking to get everything kind of together, the cheese melted and everything. I'm going to go ahead and cut it up into 6 portions. So let's kind of shoot a line down the center, and then probably right around here, and right around here, and this is it. So the points that I got are for the blue plan, and on the blue plan, 1 serving is 6 points. So it's a pretty decent helping, I think. Make sure I don't leave any extra behind. That's gonna be it. So that's a decent amount of food, and you can see that there's a good layer of potatoes in there, and the meat and cheese. Like I said, I already tasted the meat. It was really, really good. And we're going to pair this with some 0-point sides and have a really good meal down here. Thanks, y'all, again for tuning in and keeping up with the content that I'm putting out on my channel. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button. Like the videos if you like what I'm doing, so that I know what to keep doing. And then also, you know, leave any comments or questions in the comment section. I love to take the time to, you know, correspond with you guys that way. If you want to get notified when I post new content, ring the bell to be notified. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys will try this recipe, and we will see you again next time on Not So Big Matt.